Hello and welcome to the Old Man Orange podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And I heard that Rurouni Kenshin movie got really high reviews.
You know, I really wanted to see that movie. That movie kind of like snuck up on me. Like, well, actually, first off, before we started talking, you mentioned, tell me of all places where you saw this and the stories that led before.
Okay, well, there's this thing on like the Windows Phone. It's probably on other things too. It's called Weave, and it just kind of like it's just a newsreader thing, and they have categories from U.S. news, the world news, the video games and comics, and blah 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 blah, blah politics and so on. And I was just looking on the all news part. I was just like, I'm just gonna flip through. I'm just gonna see if there's anything interesting on here. Flip, like news. Yeah, news. What would be interesting on the news? But I was just flipping through, and it was just going, okay, yeah, Republicans shut down, the government, fucking Republicans.
Syria shit.
Syria, going through, and then it was like, oh, Rurouni Kenshin gets high reviews.
Which movie came out like 2 years ago or a year ago or something like that, I think.
Did it really come out that long ago?
It came out in 2012.
Well, I went to look for it. I'm gonna see if it's on Netflix. And I was like, nope, clearly not on Netflix.
I almost bought it on like. Well, here's the thing. What happened?
I meant to go on Amazon next and see if it was on there, but I didn't get that far.
I was actually kind of because I had this one friend that kind of got me into anime back when I was in middle school, and he was that kind of guy. He's a really good guy, and I'm still friends with him on Facebook. But he was definitely that friend that showed you, because he was a few years older than me, he was the friend that showed you the shit you shouldn't see. Like
Was this the guy that would go sliding down the stairs on an old mattress?
No, he lived across the street from him, though.
Oh, okay. So he was all in the neighborhood.
It was in the neighborhood. It was directly across the street from that guy.
So that one guy could shoot across on his mattress down the stairs, out the door to the other friend's house.
That was their transportation system. Just like slid up right to the door, rang the doorbell. The other guy didn't even have a door. The doorbell was broken. They were kind of like the family was somewhat shut in, so you'd have to literally go out, yell at his balcony,
chuck rocks at the window.
I never did that, but I did it one time. His dad yelled at me, but
don't chuck fucking rocks at the window.
They're Filipino, so yeah.
Oh,
a lot more angrier than that.
Yeah, no, but Americans would just kind of come up with a baseball bat and be like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah. No, I just have to yell at the window and he'd come down. But anyway, he actually, because it was one of those things when you're a kid, you're like, oh, I like this Pokemon show. Oh, you think that's shit? If you think that's cool, check out this shit. Ninja Scroll, which no fucking 10-year-old should really watch Ninja Scroll.
By the time you're like, well, that's almost like when you almost appreciate those shows more when you are younger, though.
Yeah, because it's like, this is everything I'm not supposed to watch right now. And then, like, looking back, like, the movie wasn't really that great. There were some cool things about it, but Ninja Scrolls, whatever. But he showed you that kind of shit. The shit you're not really supposed to, but out of that, he also showed me Rurouni Kenshin. He's kind of the guy that was one of the first shows I got into it. And it felt kind of made you feel kind of cool because he had it before it came on Cartoon Network. He went out and bought the VHSs, and this is like...
That's how they always started, too, because I remember, like, you go down to, like, any video renting store or Blockbuster or something like that, and you would find, like, the VHS copies of these animes before they even put them on TV, or you can get later episodes if they were on TV.
And that's back when they were, like, $30, and eventually, we talked about before how internet really put, like, Suncoast and all that out of business, which fucking serves them right for charging $30 for 3 episodes, But anyway, Rurouni Kenshin was one of those shows I got into, and looking back on it, it's kind of like, I don't know if I'd like it as much now. I think there's some cool concepts and cool things about it.
Now, is the Samurai X the first part of it, or is that just a different title for the show?
Well, it's two things. It's a prequel, because what happened is they had kind of a lighthearted action story, which had a little bit of romance, and then it had like some heavier dramatic moments, but it was generally a lighthearted show. Mm-hmm. And the main character, Kenshin, used to be this assassin during, like, I think it was the Meiji War, I believe it was. I get mixed up sometimes. Anyway, and then they eventually came out with an OVA called, it was, in America, they call it Samurai X. So like, well, how can we sell it to, how are we going to sell
Americans can't pronounce the Rurouni Kenshin. It sounds like a macaroni and cheese brand.
Exactly. So they then brought, just imagine, just like, Rurouni Kenshin macaroni and cheese, a bunch of X shapes and scars and severed heads, like, for shapes or whatever. And they came out the prequel movie, which was way darker, way more violent. You would think, if it wasn't for the main character's name and the fact that he looks kind of like him, you wouldn't assume it was the same thing. Just way different. And then they eventually came out with one that it took place after that, which ended the show, but it was done in the same anime style as the Samurai X movie. So, and I kind of, you get older, you kind of move on, you get past it. But then I actually, literally just like a few weeks ago, I was just killing time. I fell down the Wikipedia hole. Somehow I wound up on live action Rurouni Kenshin movie. I was like, what the fuck is this? And I just click on it. I was like, thinking back on that show, I'd be like, I don't know how good it would be now, but regardless of how good it would be now, the movie looks really good. Have you seen the trailer for it?
No, I was just reading about it online.
It was kind of like, it looks like they're primarily pulling like things from season 1, or maybe it was just the manga they're pulling from.
See, now that's one of those shows, I've seen a handful of episodes, but I never ever sat down and just watched it all the way through.
Generally what it's about is about a guy who was the concept's pretty cool and there's some cool stuff in it, but it just, I don't know if I'd like it now if I went back and watched it.
Is it more geared towards like teenagers?
Yeah, it's definitely aimed at teenagers. It's one of those things, it's very kind of melodramatic and kind of silly in parts, but it's generally about a guy who used to be this legendary assassin during this war, and then he says, all right, I vowed never to kill again. So what happens is he gets a new sword, but the blade is reversed. So this katana has the dull side shaped in the front, so it's kind of like, he has the sharp side is on the reverse side, so they call it the reverse blade sword in that.
Oh, okay.
So
he's just beating people with blunt objects.
With a blunt object and knocks them out, yeah. Every so often, but then like someone unlocks, because they call him Batosai. Every so often someone unlock his evil side, which is Batosai, flip the sword on the other end, like, oh shit, he means business! But of course someone would always stop him from killing or something like that at the last minute. So, and it was kind of like, it'd be his like adventures. He makes friends with this group of people in this town, and then old enemies come into play. Like there's a crooked cop who's his rival back when they were in the war. And now he takes on like personal hit contracts, and he's one of the contracts he takes on. He's gonna be in the movie, so
that's cool.
Yeah, so it looks in like just kind of it's kind of like your standard kind of like martial arts anime thing, but they almost kind of bring in this sci-fi fantasy element almost, but they kind of back away. Kind of what happens, like they do stuff that's like it doesn't go into sci-fi, but it's like you're really pushing the realms of believability. Like there's this one guy who I think his name was Honda or Hanya or something like that. Honda. Especially he drove a car in the 1800s. That was a special thing. No, he had like stripes on his they thought like his arms would stretch from a long distance and like punch someone from the other side of the room. They thought that, but
wasn't that like it was like an optical illusion or something?
It was something stupid like that. Like he just had stripes that they put it together. Like, that's how it really works. As if it was Scooby-Doo or some shit. He just had stripes on his like sleeves of his shirt. It's like, oh really? That's apparently all I can do is just step out of the way and just punch him in the face. That's all you got to do.
Yeah. Kind of blind him or something.
Yeah, so it's like kind of, or they try and say like it would go way over the top, but they try and come back around like, oh, it's still in the realm of possibility. It's like, no, it's not, but whatever.
See, some of those like older anime shows, like I don't know what it is. It's like, do you go back and watch them? And it might just change your opinion. You might have this like grand view, like I remember that show being so good, and then if you go back and watch it, like, well, it's good, not as good as my memory told me.
Yeah, I could see it.
There's always that fear. It's like, do you just keep that memory as it was always good and just never go back and experience it?
Sometimes it's the best thing to do. I mean, that show, I can think of some moments I do like, but even when I did like the show, there are moments I would just kind of like sink down in my chair, like that's kind of lame, because there'll be parts, they do the whole thing we talked about, like in Full Metal Alchemist, when Ed gets angry, someone calls him short, he gets sharp teeth, they have like blurring background, he's waving his fist around.
Very, very cheap animation.
They'd have a lot of that kind of humor in it.
When you get older, you're kind of like, God, please get on with it, dude. God,
tell the.
I like the story.
It was kind of like that. There'd be a lot of that type of humor in it, So.
And that's why I noticed those are the kind of the animes that are kind of hard to go back to. Are the ones that have too much of that. If it has like a little bit, it's fine. But sometimes if they have too much of that, there comes that point where it's just that is like you're an adult.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
when you were 10 years old, you thought this was stupid.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Full Metal Alchemist, that story's so good that I can look past it.
And that stuff's not in there that much. It's in there enough that it bothers me, but it's like, I still goes like, whatever, you just kind of bite back. You still put your head down a bit, and you kind of look
around. You pause it. You run to the window. You close the shades.
Look left, look right. Go back. Sit down. Turn
what
the
are
lights
you doing
down.
in there? Watching porn. Oh, okay. I thought you were watching some like teenage anime bullshit. Like, no, I ain't that guy. No.
It's nothing wrong with the anime part. Just whenever they have that, I think that the goofiness of like
Yeah,
The
that's
exaggerated expressions. And just, I guess when Pac was like, he's mad! He's angry! It's like, yes, he's angry. You can show that in other ways.
The only time I think that really works well to its advantage, and it's only because the show is so fucking insane anyway, is Fooly Cooley.
Now, yeah, well, that's just supposed to be just so out there and,
it gets dark
surreal and
parts of that show gets fucking dark and just out there and weird when it gets down to it. Because at a first glance, like, okay, cool, it's out there, it's weird. But then other moments it comes in, it's just like the part where she has not Monaco, whatever her name is, has the kid's dad and he's dead.
Yeah.
Like in like the house, in the back of the house for like a couple of days or something, just rotting. He has to revive him somehow or something like that.
I remember that.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen that one, but that was a good one.
Yeah.
But no, some of those other ones though, it's just there's just some like kind of it's like just those little moments, and then sometimes there's a little bit bad translations that you didn't like notice when you were younger or something. It's like, oh.
I can understand why some people like to watch subtitled anime, because for me it's one of those things. I mean, I prefer to listen to it in English, but I mean, assuming they change the dialogue to make it like they changed the dialogue for Cowboy Bebop, and that dialogue sounds better in my opinion to that one. And it does the Japanese, but I think that some animes, they are just best in Japanese because that is kind of a hard language to translate. Like,
well, I think just like animes that are 20 years old by now, some of them just didn't get the grandest dubbing back. It was just kind of like the dubbing was just like literally a couple guys in a room or something like that.
This is even longer.
They're not even like that much actors. Like, hey, you want to do a voiceover? Well, I guess.
You on the street, yeah. I remember we were talking about like Street Fighter 2V. A little while ago.
Because I've been watching that one over again too, and I'm on the very last episode of that one. Which the only thing about that show though is like, last fucking 5 episodes, it's just like
they're fighting bison.
Yeah, for 5 fucking episodes. It's not nearly as bad as season 3 of Dragon Ball Z. I don't think anything competes with that. Yeah. But it's just one of those signs to me. It's like that the story has
bison
like
just drops a spirit bomb down to the planet.
The first 3 discs have like very good flow. They never spend more than about 2 or 3 episodes maybe in one area, and they're always traveling and going somewhere else and seeing new characters. At the very end, it's just like that. And it does, like, to top it all off, it does a lot of, like, kind of, like, repeatings, too. It's just, like...
I remember that show did that. Aren't they just in a black room the whole time?
It's only those last couple episodes, though. They just kind of repeat a bunch.
Aren't they just in a black room the whole time? Just a black room with nothing behind them?
No, that's that one... There's that one episode where, like... they're in India and they have to go into the temple.
Oh, the spirit thing, right?
And they just end up like being the shit of each other. Like it takes them that long to figure out. Like, oh, that must be Ken.
I watched that show once through, and it was all right. It was one of those shows though. It's kind of like, why are they dressed like they're on Miami Vice?
They do it first, yeah.
Yeah, and then like,
that was one of those just when I was a kid. I watched that one so many times. I mean, me and my friend, I think Josh Bullock, watched that. Must have watched that all the way through like 5 times or something. We'd watch it like in one fucking weekend, like the entire thing.
I remember there was one where like Fei Long was fighting off a bunch of like low-level thugs that were drug dealers or something like that. He's about to get his ass kicked. Then all of a sudden, off in they hear like, "Hey, is it too late for us to join the party?" And you see like Ken, Ryu, Chun-Li all posing on Ken's Ferrari or something, all dressed like they're from like an 80s cop show. Just leaning. All of a sudden, the 80s like guitar kicks in.
But that show is still like, I remember that show being just like an amazing anime.
Mm-hmm.
I think of it now, it's like, it's a good anime. I still like it a lot, and I kind of like what they do with it, but there is just some kind of things they have in it.
I just remember like the first episode, because when you were younger, this is before we had a DVD player, when you were younger and you rented something from Blockbuster or whatever video store you had, you would just watch the shit out of it until you had to take it back. Like, no, I'm getting my money's worth out of this.
When you were a kid, you really... And the older I get, it's just like... I mean, I know Netflix is kind of different because like you mostly like watch and then just send it back. But when you were a kid, it's like 5 days, you fucking watch the shit out of it. By the time you send it back, they had to get a new copy of it. It was just already worn out.
Exactly. I remember watching the first DVD or the first video of it like so many times. So I remember the first
Street Fighter one?
The first Street Fighter. Like the first 5 or 4 episodes or whatever, before when they land into like the crime zone in like Hong Kong. So they're like, oh, we don't go beyond that gate or whatever. Remember the helicopter pilot had a Texan accent in Hong Kong for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. All helicopter pilots have Texan accents. Any movie, live action, anime, cartoon doesn't make a difference. I don't know why.
Even in Dead Rising.
You go to a different fucking planet, the guy has a Texan his accent.
Even in Dead Rising.
Yep. I don't know what it is. It's something about pilots.
I guess it was like, is there like a heavy like concentration of like flight school in Texas or something?
I don't know, for helicopter pilots only.
Yeah. Well, no, but I remember like there's the part that episode. And I remember there's like they get to like the suite, and the first thing Ryu and Ken do
it's hilarious.
is for some reason they get buck ass naked and say, "Hey man, let's go swimming." And there's this shot that like
Ken's like ass is facing towards the screen, full body shot,
squatting down, flexing,
and then diving.
Yeah.
Well, it's just funny because it's like there's part makes you laugh even more because
You see Ryu in the background and like float his head out, sticking out of the water too. I
no!
think. No, but here's the thing. I remember because I was like, I must have been like 14 or 15. I remember my parents called me to do something, so I paused it. Not really look. I just walked out. Then at some point, when I sit back in the room, my dad walks in the room. Hey, Ron, did you see what's on the TV?
Ken squatting and like this.
He's like, never mind. He just walks out. He says, Diane, you're right. Our son's gay.
There's a long-haired buff man on the screen that's drawn.
There's another guy in the pool smiling.
Giving thumbs up.
Then he fucking like jumps in the water. Doesn't he like just almost like it almost looks like just like fucking crotch first trying to reuse face or some bullshit?
I don't know. I think he just dives in.
I thought he went in like feet first or something. Almost like kicks Ryu when he goes in the water.
I don't think so. I don't know. Part makes you laugh so much more. It's just like there's a part where like the Chinese guy's there is like, oh, so what do you want? It's like, oh, for me and my friend to get the most expensive suite. And the Chinese guy's like, yes, these two guys are just gonna go upstairs and fuck each other.
Right, the expensive suite. Looks over, winks at like.
Before Chun-Li's joined the group too, it just looks fucking weird.
Yeah. Send those guys a girl up there, man. Just to, they need it.
God knows what they're gonna do with that pool.
Yeah. I remember there was like, what was it? It was regarding that. There was, oh yeah, there's that one in the first episode when this is something they use in so many martial arts movies and so many animes. There's a part where Ryu's just kind of standing in the airport, and then all of a sudden he hears a punch, and you see like a punch coming in with the speed particle effects behind it. Then he blocks it. I'm just kind of waiting for that one anime.
The guy's just fucking laid out.
He gets said, "Oh man, what the fuck did you do?" Like, "Oh, I'm sorry. It's just like we practiced martial arts when we were kids. Like that was when we were 10. You fucking prick." I'm just waiting for that.
A moment like that sort of happened to me once.
Really?
Back in high school.
It was Josh, wasn't it?
No.
Okay.
Me and RJ, we had to go pick up RJ's dad and mom. I think they were like at the bar in Twainhart or something. And I had the fucking window down in RJ's car. And like Ron was always like, "Spurns!" And he like throws a punch and it just like hits me like right through the window. He's like, "Oh, I thought the window was up." I was like, "What, you're just gonna punch the window?"
It looked insured.
It wasn't my car, even it was RJ's. So that was literally like one of those ones.
This kid lives at the house. I'll be his fucking payment.
I gotta fucking punch him. Punch my own kid. I can punch another kid too if I want. Any kid that goes to my house, I get a punch.
Gonna eat my food, drink my beer. Something's gonna get fucking sucked.
It wasn't like one of those like super like it's like fuck you, get out of that car. It's more just like hey, like literally like what they would do in like one of those animes. But I didn't block it. I was just like, oh, I just assumed, oh, he's gonna stop. Oh, he clearly is not stopping. It is coming towards me.
You had that Sherlock.
I have my seatbelt on. I can't react.
You have that Sherlock Holmes moment, like coming in. If I strike now, and then it's like, but I'm in the car seat, so I can't punch you.
The seatbelt's got me.
It just plays in fast motion. Bam!
That window didn't protect me.
No.
But no, so far, like the Street Fighter 2, it's like I do still enjoy it. It does have there is some parts in it, so it's like, oh, okay, that's kind of like okay, like dubbing. Sometimes they make Ryu really retarded for some reason. Ryu's always kind of like that. It's like, if he lives outside in the woods, he must be retarded.
Well, I remember
not like full on retarded, but
like I remember he was more of kind of like the muscle bound, kind of like, hey guys, let's have a good time. Where like in everything else,
let's get together and wrestle naked.
Yeah, nothing gay about it, But no, there is like
Chun-Li, you can't join.
That would just get weird,
It's a dude thing.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you see my beaded bracelet?
Me and my grandpa, we do it every day.
We're on a fucking island doing like chopping down wood. So what else fuck we gonna do?
What are you gonna do at night?
There's no woman except that one chick, and she keeps
taking
around
me shit.
She keeps taking around me. I don't know why.
She gave me this bracelet for good luck.
Yeah, hasn't worked so far. So No, but there was like I remember like in all the other stuff that you have of Ryu, he's actually a lot more of kind of like the more lone wolf kind of guy.
Well, yeah,
which that's more my favorite Ryu.
I like the Ryu where he's just traveling the earth with like his like sack over his shoulder. He's just walking, you know.
My favorite like form of Street Fighter outside of the actually probably my favorite because it has the writing's pretty good and the artwork's amazing. Street Fighter comic book I think is great.
Oh, that was really cool.
Comic. Undone comic, that was so good. It was also one of those things that kind of like it's Street Fighter. We know it's Street Fighter. We're not going to try and make too much sense out of it, but we're going to make it work for the story. It's the kind of story it is, and it does.
Well, yeah, because it kind of does its own kind of little thing, but still captures all the aspects of it.
Because all those live action Street Fighter movies, unless there's some Japanese one I don't know about, I think I've heard there was a few, but
I don't think there is one.
I think
I would
like,
have saw one if there was.
I think there's one I think there's one live action Street Fighter movie.
I feel like I would have saw it if there was, but it could be.
Yeah, there's always one or two that slide by you. But it's like, Legend of Chun-Li, the other 90s one. They kind of try to make sense out of some stuff. It's like, there's no sense in trying to make sense out of it. Just fucking,
Just do it what it is.
Yeah. And
that's why it's kind of like the Street Fighter 2, the animated movie. Like, that one kind of feels like... Almost feels like they made a live action movie. It's like, Japan's like, no. Let's put this out here just to let people know.
And that live action movie's pretty good.
The live action?
Not the live action, the animated. I don't know where the live action came from. The Street Fighter 2 anime one.
That one, I mean, it's one of those ones, it's kind of like... It's kind of quick, so it kind of has to go through everything, I mean, it's like 90 minutes, and, But I like how, the one that I do like is they do give every single character in Street Fighter 2, at least a moment. And that's cool, because, because I was watching Street Fighter V, and I'm like, I can't remember. But I noticed that E-Honda's not in it. Like fat people don't sell. It's one of those kind of things. But, T-Hawk's not in it, and then DJ. And it's like one of those ones... It's like, maybe not. I think E-Honda needs to be in there. That's like one of the main characters.
Yeah. And they didn't have
DJ and T-Hawk, you could kind of get by.
Well, I remember they just kind of like the Street Fighter 2 movie, not the Street Fighter 2 movie. I keep on getting mixed up. The Street
2B?
Fighter live action movie.
Oh yeah, the live action one.
The live action movie. I mean, it's kind of, it has a camp value to it. It's not really a good movie, but out of that, at least it's kind of enjoyable.
That's how I feel. It's one of those ones, it's not, it's not good. Amazing, but it's kind of fun. I still enjoy it. I think because it still takes me back, because I remember watching it as a kid, and when you're a kid, it's just like, oh my
You take
God.
whatever you can get.
Well, that too, that was at the time period too, where because parents are like, anything that has martial arts in it or too much violence, you gotta be kind of leery of stuff. And Street Fighter was like, oh yeah, I'm watching Street Fighter, Street, and then there's the Mortal Kombat one too, is like, yeah, this is like my time period right now.
Yeah.
Violence.
Or there's the movie, because they actually had, you could tell they didn't really know who the characters were, because for some reason Balrog was a good guy, DJ was just kind of a guy who stood there with his arms behind his back.
Dawson was a scientist.
Rolling his eyes at whatever everyone else said.
They really did the thing where it's like, well, Dawson, he's Indian. What do Indians do nowadays? Well, they're mostly like doctors and scientists. Well, make them be that.
Blanca
Medicine, man. That's a hobo's job.
I remember I was a little let down because when you're a kid, you just like the monster and you like the weird, the weird characters. And Blanca was my favorite character as a kid. So
was he your favorite?
So when I was a kid, yeah. So when he was only in the movie for for the last 5 minutes, it was just kind of like, oh, that's it, and he blows up. And plus, Dawson's like, yeah, I'm gonna stay here and blow up too. It's like, why? I just feel like it.
I remember the weirdest thing, and even as a kid too, is that movie. It's it just didn't make any sense. It's and I think everybody says too, is why the fuck is Guile the main character?
Yeah.
That is clearly because it was made by a bunch of older people who are American and have never really played the game.
Yeah, that's obvious.
That's what they're looking at well, why the fuck is this Ryu guy the main character? This Guile guy should be the main character. Look at him. He's a role model.
He's a good old-fashioned American.
He
Get Jean-Claude Van Damme in there. I just like how he's just rocking this big American flag dude. Just go to kill that son of a beach bison and punch him in his fucking face. Yet he's just rocking this big American.
He's I'm so American. Yeah. The thing about Jean-Claude Van Damme too is they do that in a lot of movies. They make him he's I'm the getting the Arnold Schwarzenegger voice in there.
It's hard not to.
Because he kind of he has that.
He's the French Arnold.
He's this the deep French voice. Mm-hmm. But in all the other movies too, it's they make him I'm so American.
It's no, you're not.
He's just make the guy fucking French for once. It's for the longest time I was is he ever playing a French guy in a movie? It's literally he's always the all American boy. He's got his Leatherman jacket on, flag flying behind him. It's just
Guile crew cut.
Yeah. No matter what movie it is.
Yeah, France should reclaim that guy, because that guy knows how to kick some ass.
I think they kind of have in the later years, but there's a period. Mm-hmm. Did you know at one point in time he was actually supposed to be the Predator in Predator?
No shit.
Yeah, apparently they brought. I was watching the special features on that movie.
He's going to be the guy in the suit.
Yeah, he's gonna be the guy in the suit.
How about that?
Because remember, they said something like, "This guy right here, this guy's gonna become a big actor at some point or whatever," And for somehow, some way, he couldn't make it.
I was so glad he was in Expendables 2.
I know he's really badass in that.
It's like because a lot of those guys, a lot of these old action stars, they're not always like the best actors, but they're good at what they're doing. You know what I mean? If you like 80s action films, they're good at that. And some of those movies, they don't gotta be fucking Shakespeare. They can just be explosions and death, and that's that guy's good at.
Van Damme's like, he's not that bad of an actor though. He
didn't do good in Street Fighter, but I think it's just the movie
itself.
Well, no,
I think that's just because he's not playing.
He worked well in
if there was
Expendables 2.
Yeah, if he played like that French character maybe from Street Fighter 4.
Oh yeah, the character. Wait,
that guy that always grabs
Abel.
and throws. Yeah, Abel. If he played like that guy, maybe they'd be different. But
I just remember Street Fighter, the live action movie. They had everybody like for some reason Ryu and Ken were arms dealers.
Were they in the live action?
They were fake arms dealers.
Because they're used by Interpol.
Yeah, they used them. They went there. They would like fake like Nerf guns and sold them to Sagat, who was a crime lord of like
Yeah, the one character they got pretty well that movie though was Zangief,
and he got Vega good.
Yeah, Vega was actually done really well.
Way better than that fucker from the Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Which, god damn it, that pissed me off so much. Like, that guy's Vega, whatever, maybe he'll do a good job. You see it, what the fuck is this? It was trying to be like Street Fighter Begins.
Uh-huh.
That movie was trying to be like...
Just not good.
Not like good,
Batman Begins.
No.
Batman Begins, it's all good.
That movie's damn near perfect, but like, fucking, yeah. I'm just getting depressed now thinking about Street... Because I was like, I remember we actually drove a distance to see that movie. Like, this is going to be the one that does it. We're actually... Maybe, we're
going to drive an hour and a half to see Legend of Chun-Li. It's going to be so fucking amazing.
Yeah, then we get there, and after the movie's
over... We're literally the only people in this tiny-ass theater in the back, like theater number 20.
Yeah, and then as we're leaving the theater, we're like...
The guy's like, you guys want to see this? Like, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, the guy.
There's 19 other movies playing here. For fuck's sake, choose one of those.
The usher kind of like gave like jolted back. Oh shit. Phil, what do I do? They're gonna see the Chung Li.
We haven't cleaned that theater out in 3 weeks. I mean, I don't think it needs to be cleaned out, but still.
And after the movie was done, we were leaving, and we were just kind of like, it could have been bad.
It was pretty good though, right, man?
I like the more unsure we get, the more higher pitched voice we have. Yeah.
It wasn't too bad. I mean. It had some elements in it.
I understand.
Elements.
There's certain things about it, like I don't know why. I mean, at some point, Bison should have threw on a red suit, but whatever, and then later, like just a day or two later, no, that movie sucked dick. What are we talking about? We can't defend this.
I think it was just like when you put that much time and effort and driving and all that stuff into there, you always feel like it almost gives it an extra point or so.
And plus, it also kind of even like pissed me off a little bit at the end. Cause this is what I remember at least. Maybe I'm misremembering it, but there's the part when Gen, which I like that actor that played Gen, but he shouldn't have been playing Gen because he was too young for that guy, or at least fucking grown out a beard or something, not just kind of like a faint stubble.
Oh yeah.
But he was like, yeah, there's some fighter out there named Ryu. It's like, it's called Ryu, you fuck!
Yeah, things like that always bother me. It's like, no, what does it fucking say in the movie?
Yeah.
That when it comes to names, it's like, there's certainly, like in a comic book, I feel like there can be different pronunciations because we're reading it, so it's kind of, who's to say what it really is?
Yeah.
But if they actually say their fucking name somewhere, especially if it's in the game, that's what it is.
Like, this movie's like, this isn't like...
Just like Mario, it's not Mario. When the fuck does he go, it's a me, Mario? No, it's a me, Mario.
It's an East Coast thing. I noticed a lot of...
Yeah, it's only... Well, because East Coast, you pronounce Mario as Mario.
Uh-huh.
But that's fine for anybody who's a fucking Mario. If we're talking about Super Mario, it's Mario. Doesn't matter where the fuck you come from. That's always like drove me up the wall.
Hot button issue.
It really is, because it still keeps going on. I thought we were over this.
Thought these times were done,
Speaking of Batman Begins, I watched Batman and Batman Returns recently, because I finally, they had those super special editions of I guess the 90s you can kind of say.
Yeah.
Movies. And I remember for the longest time, they came out in 2005 on DVD or something like that, and then they came out maybe a handful of years later on Blu-ray. And I always wanted them, but they was why the fuck are these always $100? Jesus Christ.
For the 4-pack or something?
Yeah, for they're old movies. Why are they $100? You know what I mean? It's not like I'm getting... Star Wars is cheaper than that, and you get all 6 of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's 4 movies. Well, they finally made one on Amazon for $27 brand new. I'm like, I'll buy it for $27. That's my kind of price. And it's got like the sweetest special features. That first Batman, like, it's like over 3.5 hours of special features. It tells the whole story. It's all fucking awesome. And then it goes on throughout the rest of them and stuff.
Did they talk about when they were considering getting Bill Murray to be Batman, like the early 80s or whatever?
Yeah, because it started out, it's like a 10-year period that movie took to be made. Mm-hmm. So they talked about that, which is cool because now I got like the rape edition of Batman, and I also got the rape edition of Superman, because I got the Superman set. It's got like 12 discs or something in it.
I know if we ever start like putting our shorts out and
It's
like
not
have some kind of
special
special,
edition.
it's the rape edition.
It's the rape edition. That's one of those ones, watching Batman and Batman Returns, because that was the first Batman stuff I ever saw, was those two movies. Mm-hmm. Before I even saw the animation, they all kind of probably came together, but I remember seeing before anything else. I almost want to say the first one I saw was Batman Returns, but I could be wrong. Could have been Batman. Fuzzy in that department. I just remember seeing Batman Returns more than seeing Batman, the first one.
I remember seeing Batman and then watching the cartoon, and then eventually seeing Batman Returns and the other ones.
Yeah. Because then the cartoon come out at the same time as Batman Returns, a little bit after that.
Yeah. Well, I saw Batman.
92.
Yeah, I saw Batman. I saw... Cause I saw it because we got it on VHS, and I saw it when I was a kid. I was kind of... I loved it, but when you're a little kid, you don't completely know what's going on.
You're just like, cool, Batman,
punching.
Joker.
Yeah, exactly.
Car.
Mm-hmm. Jet. That gets taken down with one bullet, apparently.
It's a big bullet.
Yeah, it's a big fucking jet, too.
Yeah, that's true, too. That first Batman's got, like, it's got a couple things. There's a handful of things in that movie. Overall, I think, I really like that movie a lot. I think it's actually really good. There's a couple things that are kind of weird, and there's a couple things that I kind of see why they might have done it. Mm-hmm. It's funny because, like, Sam Hamm, the guy that wrote it or whatever, there's part of the special features he's like, I just want to fucking put this on the special features. One, I didn't write that scene where Vicky Vale comes in the back. That's not fucking me. And two, I didn't make the scene where Joker kills his parents. That wasn't me. Get that fucking straight. It was that other guy. Which is like,
because he got so much shit for that for years.
Yeah, he's like, that wasn't me. That was the other guy that came in and wrote it. The Vicky Vale one, like, the way I can kind of see why that kind of happened is that, like, because there's a part before where Alfred's just kind of like, God, I wish you'd just get over that fucking Batman thing. It's just like, yes, your parents. It's like he almost just that classic thing that Alfred's like, I want a better life for you.
Mm-hmm. Well, even this Alfred's a little bit more of kind of just like. Mr. Wayne, there's a problem downstairs. Maybe you should come and see. He's kind of like he's very obvious about it. Like, does anybody notice why when Bruce leaves, something happens with Batman downtown? Does anybody fucking notice that? Anybody at all,
I like Michael Gow a lot, though. Yeah, I like him as Alfred.
I like him, yeah.
But it's like, I think the whole point was like, this is how I'll get him to fucking stop being Batman. Once they bring Vicky Vale in here, it's all over.
He comes in like, Master Bruce, I bought you a woman. He walks up the stairs, turns around, you're welcome, leaves.
That's really what it's like. Just like, fuck her and just let's get this bat thing over with.
Yeah.
And then, like, also, if the Joker killing his parents, I think is like in a sense, if you look at that movie, if it was just a one-shot movie, mm-hmm. I think it does work well for just being a straight one-shot thing. In regular Batman thing, not necessarily, but if that was just a one-shot Batman movie, say that's just a one-story only kind of like mm-hmm. thing, I think that makes a good tie around just to wrap all that stuff in.
Like, that doesn't bother me, really, because, I mean, it's one of those things, given what we had at the time, I mean, look, it's, I still like that movie, it's not perfect, I still like it, but, it's, given everything else you had at the time, that movie was a huge step.
Mm. Oh, yeah.
And top of that, I think, is, when I was a little younger, I was like, oh, Jack Nicholson, he was just being Jack Nicholson. But looking back on the movie, I think I was being a little harsh on it. He's actually does do a good job as the Joker. He is
really good as the Joker.
And Kevin Smith brought this up, I think it was an episode of Fat Man on Batman, or maybe it was the guy that Kevin Smith was with, but mm-hmm. Something I never really thought of, but because the villains are usually kind of interesting in the Tim Burton movies. But I always thought Michael Keaton, now this isn't a slang against him, it's probably the way he's written, and given what else he had at the time, I guess you're trying to humanize him a little bit. But Michael Keaton seemed to be kind of a little just confused and kind of like, when he was Batman, it was just like, all right, we're just waiting for him to become Batman. This is the guy we're stuck with until he gets in that suit. Mm-hmm. And it kind of felt that way. Maybe that was intentional, but you can tell that, like, Tim Burton loves kind of like the villains. You could tell that's what he likes. Because looking at Jack Nicholson as Joker, that stuff is all awesome. But it's when it's just kind of
the
like...
way that Tim Burton explained in like the special features, he explained it kind of as like, he's like, well, the whole point about Batman is Batman's not supposed to be eating up the scene. He's supposed to be in the shadow. He doesn't want to be noticed. He wants his actions to happen, but without being noticed. And it's like, and if you think of it like that, it's like, well, that makes kind of sense why the Batman character doesn't stand out nearly as much, I guess, as, the Joker or the Penguin or something like that.
I can understand that, but then there's that one scene. There's the only scene that I guess really, because, Batman kills in that movie, and I can do without that.
The one part's like, when he drives in, he blows up the...
chemical plant?
The chemical plant. The way it should have just went, you could just really done it really easily, is Batman drives in there. Like, maybe there's like a timer that's counting down, so everybody's like, well, let's get the fuck out of here. Or he drops the bomb and drives out, and everybody's running out with him. So, like, just show people running out and then have it blow up. Yeah. I think that would have been just a bit, because this part was just like, people are just like, well, fuck you guys.
Well, there is the part where he blatantly, like, there's that one guy going after, he's like, when they're fighting near the bell, he blatantly, like, grabs the guy's
chucks him, like, down the thing.
Neck with, like, his legs, slammed his face against the bell, and drops him, like, 80 stories down or whatever.
Yeah, that's the other one where I think he kills.
It doesn't kill it for me, because it's just one of those things, I understand, it was a movie, there wasn't a whole lot to compare to back then. So, I mean, it's not really the Batman I prefer, but I understand it. So.
And the way I think, too, is, like, if you look at the time... I don't know if it was well known that Batman doesn't kill as much, because if Tim Burton was just kind of looking at like the Bob Kane Batman stuff, and then he was looking at like the Dark Knight Returns, and the Dark Knight, if those are like some of the few things you're reading, it's like you go like, well, in Dark Knight Returns, Batman doesn't just want to kill, but he kills that one guy where the lady's gonna kill the kid, or I guess kills the lady. So it's like if you just read those, you'd be like, well, maybe he just kills when it gets down to it, but he doesn't want to kill. So I could see how people kind of get confused.
I'm kind of waiting for that one issue, and depending on how they go about it, it won't piss me off. But I'm waiting for that one issue where Batman says, and actually it stays within the timeline, not an alternate universe type thing, where Batman just says, fuck it, and kills somebody. I'm kind of waiting for that to happen.
The Batman breaking point?
Yeah, I don't need it to happen.
You can even call it Batman breaking point.
Well, like going back to Kevin Smith, like Grant Morrison pointed this out. I never thought of this before, but he believed killing Joke to be...
Oh, yeah, Batman, like, snaps his neck at the end?
Yeah, because if you look at it, that was one of those things where, like, get the fuck out of here. Then after he explained it, I went back and looked at it like, that's a good point, because it was one of those things secretly. I can see Alan Moore doing
I feel like it's when I heard it too, I was like, how did I not notice that? I only read it once, but still.
And I went back and I reread it, and there's that part where, like, because as they're both laughing, Batman reaches out, and he's chuckling too. He's reaching out, and he puts his hands on Joker. We see that in the reflection. Then the reflection of, like, there's a line between them. It starts to rain, a puddle comes up, the line disappears. When that line disappears, the laughing stops. So it's one of those things, I didn't really think about that. But
like, comic's over.
yeah, it's one of those things. Maybe it's obviously not part of canon because Joker's still alive. That was a secret for Alan Moore. Like, all right, this is for me and the artist, Yeah. Anybody else who kind of notices it in there.
Well, then I was thinking the other time that Batman, like, he doesn't actually kill the Joker here, but, like, I was thinking in Return of the Joker, the Batman Beyond movie, when they had the flashback to where, I almost said Jason Todd, but Tim Drake's pretty much captured by the Joker or whatever, and then he's turned into, like, the little Joker, like, son.
Yeah.
There's that part where Batman, he literally gets his, like, angry face and takes the batarang and chucks it right at the Joker's head. And the Joker just slightly dodges, but for a fact, he's like, fuck, I'm killing him at this point.
There are moments where Batman is about to kill and even threatens to kill
maybe it's like those ones, like, 30 seconds later, it's like, whew. Good thing he dodged that. Yeah. I could have killed him there. Could have lost myself.
I think it's one of those things, because there are moments where he was going to kill, but someone stops him, or he changes his mind at the very last minute. I could think of, like, 4 different times in the comics that I've read. Like, there's one time he was socking the shit out of Black Mask, and, like, there was a burning building. He's like, I gotta kill Black Mask, but you'll die. He says, like, yeah, but at least they'll end this crime, this giant war, or whatever, And then, like, Oracle's like, you gotta save me, though. I was like, all right.
Wasn't that in, like, War Games?
Yeah, he's like, you're in the fucking wheelchair, so I guess I got to, right? So...
somebody's gonna push you.
So he there's that. There's the
time... Still got arms.
There's a time he almost kills Joker.
Have you seen those people in the Olympics?
Well, you should join... Oh, my God. You should join the Special Olympics. You should be Batgirl. You'll kick all their asses. But then there's the time when he almost kills Joker in the Death in the Family with Jason Todd. He almost kills Joker when Joker goes to the UN. He almost killed Joker in Hush. Then there's, like... I'm sure there's another one that I'm drawing a blank on at this moment, but they exist, you know.
And then going back to the Tim Burton Batman one, like in a sense, like okay, so the people he kills is all those guys standing around him in the Access Chemical Lab, which I feel like that scene could have been like he could have just kind of like put out an alarm or something that would make those people just go.
Yeah.
And then that guy who falls in the bell tower. And then really, the Joker part, the only part, he doesn't technically kill him. He just punches him. Joker happens to fall over the edge.
Mm-hmm. Well, he straps up he straps the gargoyle to Joker's ankle or whatever.
Oh yeah, he does that where it's just like he's like trying to escape, like fuck that. It's a sickness. Well, I didn't kill him. You know, he just kind of held on.
Yeah, I'm just
he
saying.
He could have let go.
He could have, but you know, he's an asshole. So,
so he killed himself.
There always are kind of like loopholes. Like we said about this during the Court of Owls one when he was like, "Oh well, they're zombies, so it's not really killing when you get down to it," you know.
Yeah.
And then there's some like in Superman Batman, there's one where it's like some future douchebags went around and rechanged. They did sort of a Flashpoint thing. Some future douchebags went in, changed some shit around, and made like Batman and Superman kind of like rulers of the world, and they did these people's bidding. And then they killed Green Arrow. They killed a bunch of other heroes. At some point, they realize, oh, shit's fucked. We got to fix it, you know. And they keep on going back and trying to fix it. They keep on fucking it up. At some point, Batman's like, this is our last chance. And Ra's al Ghul's ruined the world. And Batman cuts off Ra's al Ghul's head. He says, like, well, it's in a parallel time paradox, so it doesn't matter.
I just want to see what it felt like.
Yeah. We're going to go back and fix it right now, so it doesn't really count. Okay, guys? Cool. You know?
That's like, there's one in Cosmic Odyssey, there's a part where Batman's like in the sewer and he's being attacked by, one of the alien guys from, I think, like, Apocalypse. Whatever, and like, they have a struggle, and like, the alien drops his gun or whatever, and Batman picks up and just shoots him. He's like, whoa, he's not human.
Does he kill it?
Yeah.
He kill it?
I think the thing actually comes back to life, but it like blows a ginormous hole in the guy's, like, center.
He comes back to life. I knew he'd do that. I told you. I told Clark, yeah.
And then, like, really, if you
Solomon
think
Grundy. All the times you fight Solomon Grundy.
Yeah,
he's already dead.
He's a zombie.
Yeah.
In Batman Returns, the only real person he kills in that one is the guy he fucking straps the bomb to, where he goes and, like, the guy's like, oh, like the classic villain, like, you punch him, he just doesn't move, and it's just like, whatever, fuck that, I brought this bomb for a reason. I knew this was coming.
Well, there's always kind of like those one or two villains kind of like that, or like one or two moments like that in those, because if you look back on, like you said, there's the chemical plant one, that one right there, it's kind of like, you know, maybe it was just those guys' fault, they didn't get the fuck out of there, you can look at it that way. The other one is just like, Batman blatantly, he was about to die, so he had to slam that guy's face against that bell.
Like that guy.
But this guy, just like, no, fuck this guy. He got a bomb, you know?
I strapped it to him, and I knocked him over the edge.
Yeah.
And I'm walking off, he blows up in the background.
There's no other way around that one.
Because really, in Batman Returns, the only other person you could maybe say, but like, I don't count as much, is the guy that gets, like, caught by, like, the flame exhaust on, like, the Batmobile.
Oh, right.
But it's like, yeah, he probably could survive. Burn victim.
I'm wondering what they're going to do with Ben Affleck in the new one, because at some point I'm imagining we're going to have a chase between Superman and the Batjet with kryptonite missiles or some shit like that.
Yeah.
I'm guessing something on those lines.
That'd be sweet.
I guess if you look at Batman Begins, I mean, I'm not trying to be biased here, but I think I can find ways about Batman Begins, because he flips because when they're in the dojo, he flips the burning incense thing into the or the branding iron or whatever into like the gun. I don't know why. I know they're all old school, but why the fuck in modern day do they have a gunpowder room? Later you see him all with machine guns and AK-47s and shit, but
maybe after that incident they're like, well, this is fucking stupid.
We should just get...
we should just buy some modern weapons.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're doing this ninja training thing, but really, you know.
Yeah, look at you think you know a guy, and then all of a sudden, like the last day of his training, he fucking flips a flaming metal object into our gunpowder room.
I think because you saw those guys escaping, you saw them leaving, so I think it's safe to say.
As far in a movie,
and they're ninja training; they should be able to get out of it.
In a movie, you can almost as long as you see a couple guys running away, you just can assume that everybody ran away.
Yeah,
you know that's how I feel. Like that's how I feel like the Access Chemical. If when the Batmobile was driving out, like if you saw a couple guys running out, that's all you would need.
You see like you see him running out, you see like Michael Keaton's like, oh, check this out, Alfred. He puts him on speaker. He starts running him over. Like he backs up one of their heads, he's like burning out. Doing like wheelies over him. Sorry, I've been playing Grand Theft Auto 5 still, so I still got
that idea of like hitting somebody.
Yeah. I don't do it when I play as Michael or Franklin, but if I play as Trevor, all bets are off.
Now that game, you don't slow down when you hit people, do you? You don't slow down when you hit people, right?
It depends on how big the car is or what it is.
Oh, okay. Because I remember, like, I can't remember if it was Grand Theft Auto 4 did that. I remember, like, those, like, pretty much the other we wish we were Grand Theft Auto games. I remember when they put that in there, it's like, why the fuck do you have it the car slows down when you hit people? That takes out, like, all the fun. It's a video game.
Oh, I mean, where it properly stops or whatever?
Well, then, like, not like it stops, like, you hit, like, a pole or something, but, like...
It depends on their position.
There's some games where, like, you know, you'd be driving along and you hit some people and it's like... And it's like, oh, come on.
Well, like, you know, the impact might slow you down for a second. It depends on, like, what car you're driving, what car they're driving, and the position and speed you're
No, not when you hit a car, when you hit a person.
Oh, hit a person.
Well, yeah, when you hit a person.
No, the person is just, yeah.
Okay, that's good. Because I remember there's some games that try to do that for a while. It's like, that's fucking stupid.
There's one, I never really do these missions, but every so often.
Rampage ones?
Well, it's not those, but it's more like this game. It's kind of like, you know, sometimes the little blue dot you be driving. It's like those more randomized missions where like, someone help me, and you stop for a second. It's kind of like, I'm a criminal, and it's one of those things. Don't ask me why. I get this weird sense of kind of like, if I'm playing like Red Dead Redemption, I'll stop and help him out. But in this one, it's like I might accidentally run this guy over, or shoot him later, and I don't want to do me a favor now just to kill him. I know it's kind of weird because I know they're not fucking real, but I just kind of get that sense. You know what I mean?
That these people are real. They're like, this guy.
This
guy was just going home from work.
Yeah. It's one of those kind of things. You know what I mean? So
it's a moral obligation.
It's not. Yeah. So, but one time I actually did stop, and there was like some girl stranded in the middle of the desert. You know, some kind of like hippie party girl stuck out in the desert, and I was playing as Trevor.
Oh, they have like those stranger missions in this?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, they have like the
stuff that appeared in Red Dead Redemption. That was
with the question marks over it.
Yeah, that wasn't in like any of the other Grand Theft Autos.
You got those, and then you got ones where just people randomly, like for instance, like say in Red Dead Redemption, you be riding your horse along. Also, like, hey, help me! And you stop some girl.
Like they give you like $10 or something.
That guy stole my horse, or that guy stole something like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So. I did that one time for this. I was playing as Trevor, and this girl, like, she was all saying, like, yeah, I was out in a party, and I was dropping E during in this desert. They had it worded funnier than that. Mm-hmm. And when I drop her off, like, I'm dropping her off at her boyfriend's work or whatever. The boyfriend, I'm on top of this giant hill, and the boyfriend's all like, you sleeping with my girl, man? It's just like, no, I just dropped her off, man. That's all I'm doing. He's like, well, we're gonna fucking fight. So he comes at me, so I just like knock the guy out in 2 hits. The girl starts running away and screaming. I'm like, I'm playing as Trevor. What would Trevor do? And
shoot her?
No, I don't do that. I'm already on a hill. And what happens is she kind of runs around. You know, there's kind of like a railing to like the highway because we're on a really high hill. So I drive. I'm going. It's like as fast as I can to like this girl. Then I jump out of the car and hits her. Like takes her right off the cliff.
It's the little things like that that just make those games so amazing.
But the thing is, the chick wasn't a good person. As you had to talk with her, she was kind of bitchy and this and that. So it's like. Okay, well, I already got paid. I already got the credit for it. So, bam! You know? And part of me is like, I feel a little bad now. But at the same time, it's like, that was kind of fun, you know?
That must be when you get older, is when you start to feel bad for, like, things in video games. When you get to the point where, like...
When you're a kid, you just go around running over everybody. But in that game, like, you know... I do that once in a while as Trevor, but usually I'll just play the mission, just the normal.
I remember in Grand Theft Auto, I never had that, like... I feel bad for these people. The game that I remember originally felt like when you just killed random people, just felt like you're doing something horrible, was like in Fallout. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, it feels wrong doing this.
I would sometimes do it in Fallout. I was playing two like simultaneously. There is the all good missions and all the bad missions, and I just kind of do them simultaneously. It's 2 different profiles, and yeah. I was just trying to see what's on the other side of this fence, and like nothing really changed. I thought maybe if I did this, like, what if I kill this guy? Maybe this will happen. Like, oh no, you can't kill that guy because he's too important to the story.
There was like this like inner child thing going like, it could change the entire game.
And you don't really. It's just more one of those things. Oh, you still play the exact same story, just the ending's a little different. Which there's only so much you could fit in a game when it gets right down to it.
Yeah, it's kind of like no matter what, pretty much any game's linear.
Though want me to tell you the end of Grand Theft Auto 5?
No, I'll just play it.
You'll play it yourself? Okay, cool.
It's Grand Theft Auto, I'm not gonna...
It has one of those kind of like, sort of choose your own kind of ending kind of things.
Choose your own ending?
Yeah. Flip to page 48 for this, and no.
Like, you mean like those? Are you talking about like those like old books that came out like in the '90s?
Choose Your Own Adventure books.
Yeah, those things were actually really cool. I had a Goosebumps one like that too, where
I had
like
a Star Wars one.
Those are bad. They should bring those back. That's a fucking. That was really like the hybrid between books and video games.
Yeah. Well, I won't tell you what happens, but you are presented.
Even though when you're a kid though, you ask for like a Nintendo and you get one of those like Choose Your Own Adventure games. Like, no, I want Legend of Zelda.
I guess I'll take it. I guess.
Yes.
I had a Star Wars one. I thought I was buying like a Star Wars novelization, but it ended up being a Choose Your Own Adventure Star Wars novelization. It was like you were tagging along with Han Solo and Luke during A New Hope, or you met up with. It was like you met up with them like at the canteen.
Well, you're gonna be our fluffer boy.
Yeah, which I don't know what.
Chewbacca needs a real fluffer.
I don't know. Look out for Wookiee jizz. It burns.
It burns your eyes. Before me and him were friends, I was just fluffer. That's how we met.
He was gonna use C-3PO, but good thing you came around, boy. No, it was like I don't know what a 12-year-old boy is doing at a cantina bar, but okay, whatever, because that's where you met him. I want to say
he's looking to become a fluffer. That's what his dad told him to do. He's like, son, you need a job, but the only thing you can get is being a fluffer.
Yeah. The moisturizing farm thing ain't working out, so...
We know that the farm thing is hurting your hand, and you can't push a plow for very long.
But good news, you got your mother's mouth, so...
So if I sell you to them, I can buy robots to replace you. We all win! Go fluff a Wookiee for all I care.
Careful, I hear that shit burns.
And don't get in your eye.
Did you ever see the
you ever wonder how Snake Plissken got that fucking eye patch?
He was armed. He made a bet.
We all start out somewhere. Even the best of us don't even get the greatest job at first.
He lost a bet to a Wookiee. That Wookiee.
That's why he went to jail.
The cops busted on him. He's promised never again. No. But, oh, fuck. No, there is, like, did you ever see the Star Wars Christmas special by chance?
No, I've always wanted to see it, though.
I actually went on and just watched...
I thought you were going to talk about the Escape from New York Christmas special.
No, that would be awesome. Well, I think we all learned an important lesson about, like, friendship
and gangs.
Yeah.
You know, how to take care of yourself, you know, without the aid of others.
Time we could all come together, just all the different gangs in the movie stop and sing, you know, like...
Like Isaac Hayes is the main singer of it.
Yeah. No, but, what ends up happening, it has like that, fucking, John Carpenter kind of like keyboard rendition of like, we wish you a Merry Christmas.
Just everybody's singing.
I want to see that.
The Escape from New York
A
Christmas
very
special.
merry Escape from New York Christmas special. No, but there is like I watched the like segments of the Star Wars Christmas special on YouTube. Like I just want to fucking know. Mm-hmm. I'm curious. The more I hear about it, I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's something I feel like I just need to see.
I didn't watch the whole. I didn't see.
They should have put that on like the super special edition Star Wars DVDs.
George Lucas was being kind of like was being like that Chuck Palahniuk book Lullaby. Like, we got to destroy all the copies. Make sure this never exists.
Yeah.
In Lullaby, there's this verse. There's like this children's book that has this poem. It's like children's songs for like lullabies from all around the world. There's this book. There's this one song in there that if you read it to your child or you sing it, the person who hears it will die. And they're going around destroying all the copies of this book. George Lucas is doing that
with the Star Wars Christmas
special, yeah.
Because really, if you want to make this, they should just make the Star Wars Rape Edition that's got like all 6 movies. It's got like the Ewok Adventures.
It's all in the hands of that mouse now. George
true.
Lucas doesn't have a choice anymore.
Yeah.
Just one day he's like sleeping in his bed, hears, wakes up, looks around like, the fuck, goes back to sleep, closes his eyes. What the fuck was that? Then all of a sudden, like,
there's
lights
like a rattling, like the Colossus, like.
They like wakes up. There's like just a bunch of like Mickey Mouse characters, like in SWAT gear. They run up, pointed like, "Where the fuck's the Christmas special, motherfucker?" Like I destroyed him. Where the fuck's the Christmas special?
There's one copy left on VHS downstairs.
Where is it? What's the code? Like, it needs my thumbprint. He goes down there.
It just chops his thumb off. You're coming with me.
It also needs it's also a retinal scanner. It's like, hold him down, Donald. No, what are you doing? They put a knife. They like pull one of his
eye out. Oh, I also gotta put my dick in the slot. No, wait. I don't mean that. That's the only thing. There's nothing else. Cut his dick off.
just for good measures. He's all like laying there bleeding in his bed. They just like chuck a wad of money. Get yourself fixed up, you stupid fuck. Walks down the stairs. No, but like I was so fucking bad. It's like apparently they're celebrating Life Day is what they call it. And they go to Chewbacca's home world, or so. I guess shit goes down or whatever. I only saw a couple parts. And they have like
shit goes down. Star Wars Christmas Special. Shit goes down.
Well, what ends up happening, it's like I don't know all the details. I just saw segments. There's like an animated segment with Boba Fett. There's a segment where you see some Wookiees watching kind of like a crystal ball-like TV, which has like some musical guest on it. Then at some point, I guess there's an overall narrative story, which I guess Luke, Han, C-3PO, R2, and Chewie go to Kashyyyk or whatever, the
Wookiee planet.
The Wookiee planet, and they're just like they're just like Happy Life Day, everybody, you know. So
God bless us, every one of us.
Carrie Fisher starts to sing kind of like in the melody of Star Wars, dun, 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 into the melody some other song, some song like Life Day, it's so magical, da, 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 something like that. Shit went down, you know.
Shit went down, but it's okay now.
Exactly. I don't remember the entire thing. I was just like, what the fuck is this? And then someone did a funny edit of that where like you saw the Empire, like the Emperor watching it on his TV. He's just like, destroy the enemy base, you know? You see the thing, you see Death Star charge it up and Darth Vader's like, oh, too easy, bam.
It blows up. Yeah. This thing's like, oh, come on, ye faith.
Yeah, exactly.
Joyful.
Exactly. The Star Wars space equivalent to that.
That'd be badass.
The Space Christmas or whatever.
You know what other show I actually started watching again? I was watching the original Jonny Quest show.
Uh-huh.
Because I was watching the
Real Adventures.
The Real Adventures of Jonny Quest. And it kept it on Netflix, like they don't have the fucking second volume of it, so it's like I'm like, oh, I guess I gotta buy it now. It's okay. It's a show I wouldn't mind owning anyways. But, you know, the original one's still just as good, too. That's a fucking amazing show as well.
I remember it being kind of like dark for being a 60s show.
No, it's still, you know, people die all the time. There's one part that just made me laugh, so I was laughing out loud. I think it could have been one of the first couple episodes, you know, where, you know, like that episode where, like, the guys are kind of like in, like, they're in, green snorkeling suits or whatever you want to call it.
That could be any episode.
But they call it like they're like, oh, the lizard men or something like that.
Oh, I mean it's like some evil organization of some sort.
Yeah, but they're not like an organization. They're just kind of like out in the waters, like robbing people and whatnot.
Okay.
There's a part where like, I know actually I take it back. I think that's actually a different episode. I think I'm confusing these two together. But whatever. The part where a guy chucks a bomb like on the ship or whatever on like the Quest ship, and Bandit grabs it and he's running down and Brace is like, Bandit, what do you got there? And stuff, and he picks it up and he's like, oh, what the fuck? And just chucks it over and it and it hits like a
fishing boat, like some peasant fishing boat.
It doesn't hit a peasant one, but it literally lands in the guy's boat who put it up there because the guy's like, it rolls into his boat. He's like, oh fuck, and blows. Now that shit really has that thing. It's like if you're bad, you die. That's okay. Or if like something, there was a part where they're in Egypt or something, and Bandit was like barking because Bandit's a way bigger part in this one. Like in the fucking Real Adventures. He was in like 2 episodes for like a second.
He was there, he just chilled there, and then like...
They never took him on any adventures. They didn't...
He's a dog, you might die.
Yeah, well,
Why are you taking your dog on these...
Yeah, you're taking your dog
I remember the dog looked a lot more like, kind of like 90s-ified, like thicker and bigger and meaner. Where in the old one,
he's more like, he's the comic relief. He's like the comic relief. He's like, oh, there's a cute puppy.
Yeah.
Well, there's a part where like, there's a scorpion and Bandit was barking at it, and Haji's like, Bandit, you're gonna get yourself hurt there. And I think Brace Band grabs like a gun or a bow and arrow's like, oh, get out of the way, man, and just like blows, and the thing explodes. The scorpion just goes.
If we don't speak English, we blow it the fuck up.
But no, that show, like, no, that one's really just still as good. And I love that kind of, like, adventure aspect. And that's kind of the whole point of Jonny Quest is, you're going to different locations. It's really kind of like a mix of, like, early Indiana Jones with, like, 007 mixed into it.
I remember the thing that I always remember.
That's really actually what it is. You think about, like, Race Band's kind of like a 007. And then you get kind of like Dr. Quest is really like Indiana Jones. Put that fucking together, even though it's before those times.
It's a good point. And plus you also get, like, I remember they, just the weird little sci-fi things they bring in. Like, they had the walking eye thing. I remember that thing very well.
Yeah, the spider, like...
Venture Brothers had a really funny, like, reference with that. They, like, he was selling the walking eye at, like, a garage sale or something like that. It's just like, well, what's the walking eye do? It's just walking eye things, Well, what's it do?
You can shoot it, nothing happens.
Yeah. So.
That's pretty funny. But no, that show's just great, though. Yeah, the one thing I like about that one, I can't remember if they, in like the real Avengers, if they get down to it, they explain a lot. When the real Avengers kind of like, what, Jonny Quest? And I don't know if it's supposed to be, like, this Jonny Quest, like the first show, like this happened, and then this is just, in a sense, as far as cartoon, like, aging, this is just when Johnny and Haji just got a little bit older, and that's what the real Avengers is.
Maybe.
That's kind of how it feels to me. I mean, obviously, like, time-wise, not necessarily, but, cartoon time-wise.
I'm not sure if this is true, but I heard Jesse actually does come in at the end of the original series. I don't know if that's true. A friend of mine told me.
I'm watching all the ones over again, and, like, so far, it's like, they bring back very fond memories, because Jonny Quest was one of those shows, when I was a kid, I remember when I first discovered, I was like, this is fucking awesome, and then Cartoon Network took it off after, like, 10 episodes.
It just had that it was a good show, but I remember it had that very funny, like, American kind of, like, 1960s, like, if it doesn't speak English, we can kill it.
And they're always like, whenever they're like in native lands, like, oh, the savages.
Yeah. Take that, you non-Christian heathen.
And then they always have the very end. They always have like the kind of like there's kind of like a sort of like, well, I guess Bandit learned his lesson today.
Dog sitting there with a big fucking swollen face from like a African like
Spider,
scorpion bite or whatever.
Yeah, Bandit always kind of gets
stupid fucking dog. No, seriously, we probably should get to the vet. He could die in like 10 minutes.
But no, overall, that's like a great show. And Race Band's just badass.
He is.
He really is just like one of the coolest characters out there.
He actually died in Venture Brothers.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Venture Brothers, I'm like, I need to sit down someday and just watch them all straight through.
Johnny was like a pillhead because he was like unstable and he was unstable and all fucked in the head because he never had a real social life. He always just went on adventures with all of them. So by the time he was like in his like early 20s, he didn't know what to do.
He's just like a kid who like lives on a fucking island and gets to do all kinds of cool stuff. It's really weird when you explain that story. Like, what's the story about? It's about two guys and their kids, and there's no women whatsoever.
That's why they brought in Jesse and
yeah, that's why they brought in Jesse. Like the other ones, just like there's something weird here. Like even the show though, there's almost like no women in there. Like there was a woman that came in like episode 6. That was the first time there was a single female in that entire show.
It was probably either one of two things. It was either probably just like some savage native girl,
no, the savages have no women in them whatsoever. They're just all there's a bunch of men.
Or
there's a bunch of butt fucking savages.
They deserve this. No, or there's like the kind of like just the like secretary type figure or something around those lines. I'm guessing, right?
No, there's no secretary like that.
No secretary type figure.
No, it's just
What was the one girl character that was there then?
It was one of the ones where they had to go to South America, and one of Dr. Quest's old friends and. What was the exact episode?
Scientist of some sort?
Yeah, she was a scientist.
Okay.
Or she was an archaeologist or something like that. And, yeah, that was like the only time there was a female character. I can't remember what that. So you watch this TV show. It's like, I watched this more like 2 days ago. I can't remember what the fuck happened in that episode. Something savages, South America. Fuck if I know.
All I know is that Race Bandit killed some shit, and that's good enough for me.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I also watched this last night was the Lords of Salem, like that new
How was that? I was curious about that.
Well, that movie just sort of like came out. Like I was just walking the store, I think like a week or so ago, and I was like, and I just saw it there on the new rack. I was like, on Blu-ray. I was like, what the fuck? When did this come out? I didn't hear a single thing about that movie.
I heard about it.
Did you? I never heard nobody mentioned. But then again, I guess it's one of those movies.
I don't think his movie's good as wide release as they used to.
No, I don't. It was pretty good actually. It started out really good. It had some really good, like the scares in it were really cool because they were nothing. It was just kind of like those subtle scares, and I like those. Like the best ones. Those very like eerie, like it's not popping out at you or anything. It's just like there, and like things are kind of unexplained. And really, what it's supposed to be is like the stories like Salem witch people in like the 1600s, they were burned or whatever, but she placed a curse. So now that the women of the Salem in the future are gonna kind of like,
and she's gonna like birth Satan or the Antichrist or something like that. Right?
Yeah, something like that. That was kind of the whole thing. So 400 years later or whatever, maybe even a little bit longer than that.
I won't let this be the thing to stop me from seeing the movie, but the one thing that kind of like steered me from seeing it a little sooner is I hear there's a part with a bunch of naked old ladies like slapping blood on each other, cackling.
There is a bunch of naked old ladies in that movie though,
which I can kind of do without that part, but I'm not going to let that totally stop me from seeing the movie.
But no, yeah, well, it's a Rob Zombie movie, so you should see it no matter what. Mm-hmm. Shouldn't let that like stop you. But it's pretty good. I kind of like it. It's like Sherry Moon Zombie plays as the main character. She kind of like works as like a DJ with a couple other people that a radio station. That's like her job. And then she's kind of like the person who her long ancestor was the guy that like burned all these witches or whatever and hunted them down. So that's why she gets to become the chosen one.
Oh, okay.
But it's pretty cool. It's got some good scares in it. Towards the end, just kind of gets kind of fucking weird, and you're kind of like, okay, but
I'll have to Redbox that shit.
Yeah, Redbox it or rent it or whatever. But yeah, it's pretty good. I liked it.
His next movie's gonna be a hockey movie.
Is it?
Yeah, based on a true story.
That's interesting. It just sounds like the weirdest fucking thing.
He said he's done with horror after this. He thinks.
Huh. I feel like horror's one of those ones like. I feel like everybody's got a horror movie or two in them, but unless you're like one of those people that's like, I just constantly make horror.
It's got
like Dario Argento or something.
It's gotta have some wear and tear on you after a while.
Yeah, or Alfred Hitchcock. It's just like, did Alfred Hitchcock ever come to the point where he's like, I just want to make a buddy movie?
North by Northwest wasn't really a scary movie. That was a little bit more. I guess that was
that's like the kind of suspenseful. I mean,
yeah,
just like a buddy cop film. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess that's a good place to wrap it up at. Check out oldmanorange.com for all kinds of fun stuff. Until then, I'm Spencer Holmes.
Ryan Dunigan.
And we will see you some other time.
Goodbye.